Labour is urging the government to invest at least £30 billion over the next 18 months in a green recovery. In the process, the hope is to create 400,000 new jobs. Pleased to say, I'm joined now by the Shadow Business Secretary, Ed Miliband. Mr Miliband, lovely to have you in the studio. So take us through this. There is an awful lot of discussion around investment in the green economy, plenty of eyes on what happens for COVID-19. It's an awful lot of money.
It is, but here's the thing. We've got a jobs crisis. We know we've lost about 1 million jobs during the economic crisis caused by coronavirus. We know we've got masses to do in getting our economy ready for the green transition that we need to make. And, that's everything from industry. We want our aerospace manufacturers making the low-carbon engines of the future, to the electric vehicle charging points we need, to the nature-based solutions, the tree planting, to retrofitting homes. We're saying to government, you're planning to spend around £100 billion on infrastructure during this Parliament. Bring forward at least £30 billion of that for the next 18 months to provide a stimulus to the economy and create hundreds of thousands of jobs, because we know people have lost their jobs. It's the right thing to do for the job market, but it's also the right thing to do for the climate as well.
I suppose the question is how quickly those jobs can come on stream. It does rather seem to me that sometimes when we're talking about investment in green technology, we're talking about an industry that is very much in its infancy.
Well, that's true to some extent, but, take aerospace, for example, and I spend a lot of time talking to the aerospace manufacturers. They're saying to me, government said we'll spend about 150 million on getting the low-carbon engines of the future ready. If they double that amount, 300 million, it could make a massive difference to us. It could protect jobs, and we're ready to go on that. We're ready to develop that technology. Or something as simple as tree planting. We know that is a nature-based solution to the climate challenge. We know it can be done quickly. Or retrofitting homes, putting the insulation, which will cut bills and also protect the planet. Actually, when you look across the economy, there are so many jobs crying out to be done. And the other thing is, Neil, is that we get bang for our buck if we invest in green. The evidence of the last financial crisis is that when there was investment in green industry, it's jobs rich. So in other words, you get more bang for your buck. It's value for money because we've got to spend this money anyway. And it makes for a better country at the end of it.
Well, let's see if the government pays any attention. Yeah. We'll keep fingers crossed on your behalf. But let's talk about perhaps the story of the day, the Pfizer vaccine for COVID-19. How optimistic are you that, well, we heard plenty of expectation management from the government at the press conference yesterday, I have to say. How confident are you that if we haven't turned the corner, then we at least know where the corner is now?
I mean, look, I'm going on what the scientists are saying, just like you and the people watching this programme. It feels like a more hopeful day than we've had in a long time, doesn't it? From what the scientists are saying. But we need to be cautious, and I think the government is right to be cautious. And we can't ignore the fact that this is going to go on for some time. And whether it's the businesses that I'm talking to are saying, look, we're still facing real difficulty and we're going to continue to hold the government to account in a constructive way to be supporting them. Sorting out the test, track and trace, which is still, to be fair to government, a work in progress. So, we need to be observing the rules as well, all of us. So, it sounds quite hopeful, but let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I mean, if you were to try and put a timescale on these things, the Health Secretary was reluctant to do so.
I'm going to join him on that.
Fair enough. But if the vaccine is rolled out in December, from your brief, in terms of business, where would you like to see prioritisation take place? You want to see businesses being able to get back to normal. How can that happen with a vaccine?
I think that's got to be science-led, because the scientists are saying that, as I understand it, that we should be starting with older people, which seems to me to make sense. So I think, in all of this, I'd say we've got to be science-led. And, the science has got to tell us what we should be doing. And in the meantime, we need that support for businesses. I'm still worried that lots of businesses are saying to me, we're not getting the same support that we got at the beginning of the crisis. Yes, the furlough extension finally is a good thing, but we need greater support to get us through the crisis. We're in a fragile position. So in a sense, I think the brief for someone like me is to let the scientists and the health experts worry about the vaccine, get that right. But in the meantime, we still need to be getting that support to business.
So 10 out of 10 for the head of the vaccine task force, Kate Bingham?
Well, I'm sure lots of people played a role in relation to that. I mean, there's been some controversy about some of the issues around Kate Bingham and some of the way government money has been spent. I don't think those issues go away. But obviously, for everyone who's developed this vaccine, it sounds hopeful.
It doesn't go away, but apparently she will at the end of the year. I'm just wondering what your view is of the spending of £700,000 £700,000 worth of taxpayers' money on PR consultants.
Completely inexplicable. I mean, why you need a team of, I think, 10 consultants, 10 PR consultants, as well as all of the, press office and so on. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I think we've got to be really careful about the way we spend taxpayers' money. I don't think that's being careful with taxpayers' money.
Do you think she should have been sacked rather than, as seems to be, a one-year contract hasn't been renewed?
I don't think somebody engaging in that kind of those practices should be carrying on in their job, put it that way.
Whilst we have you, I wonder what advice you might have for Donald Trump on how to lose an election gracefully. Sorry.
Very good.
Political correspondent wrote that.
Very good. Well done, Joe Pike. I'll be having words with him later. Well, look, when I lost the election, and I sort of, these things are seared on your memory. I rang up David Cameron to congratulate him, and I accepted the result. And that's what Donald Trump should be doing. I sort of feel he's going to carry on raging until January, the morning of January the 20th, when Joe Biden gets sworn in. But look, I think it is an important moment. I think it's an important, from my perspective, Joe Biden's victory is an important moment for sort of decency, caring about people, treating people with tolerance, for the climate issue, which we've talked about, where, Donald Trump got out of the Paris Accord on climate change, the international accord, and Joe Biden saying one of his first acts is to get America back in. So those are important things.
Ed Miliband, we are just out of time, so thank you very much for joining us in the studio.